Hey guys, Majeffries here, and welcome back to the Majeffries Network on OpenTTD. And we start where we left off pretty much last time. Although saying that, it probably wasn't here where we left off. Anyway, we start off here at Guard City St. Peter / St. Michael. And the regional rail system, functioning? Yes. Exactly how I want it to? Probably not quite. One of the problems we have right now is I added these ones in as well. These little 4-car units, and they just work a shuttle between Fort Hampton and Fort Binville. So technically it's the Fort Shuttle, if you could call it that. The problem being, as you're about to see here by this train, they end up sort of bunched up, queuing one. It's hard to explain how exactly this is going wrong. Basically, this train comes in from the main line, stops, terminates, and then goes to reverse back towards the depot. Unfortunately, at the same time, a train from the depot is also leaving and trying to get into the station, and it becomes confusing. The trains end up getting in each other's way. It's probably easy to fix if I just do a little bit of track rebuilding, but I don't really want to be doing that right now. So that at the moment I'm sort of having to auto-fix it. I am hoping that it will fix itself, in that once the trains are sort of spaced out a bit more, it'll stop doing this. So you're leaving to go on the main line. This train's now going to come into this platform, empty, and head towards the depot. There should be another train here. Maybe there isn't. If there isn't, that's good news. If there is, then it's bad news. But we're not going to worry about that right now. That's not the problem for today. The problem for today is this red line here. We're going to start building our Great Western Main Line. And as you remember from when we planned it, the whole thing practically is one big straight line, which is fantastic news. So let's get straight into it. There's not really a lot to say about it apart from let's do it. So, how long is this tunnel? 98 it says. Which brings it out right the way over at Genston. Which is almost, not quite, but almost where I want it to be. The next one up is probably a better bet. Yeah, have it come out of Bapra. Sorry, Baptiste. Actually, you've been very understanding with my destructive nature. That's something else that I wanted to talk about actually whilst I'm building, is comments. Comments are brilliant. Comments are the best way for us to keep in touch with one another. However, yet again, I'm going to do a little bit of moaning. It's a very small matter, hopefully. One that can be fixed quite quickly. What I wanted to talk about was tone. Which might seem really confusing, but there's a reason behind it. People on my channel who comment are from all over the world. And I think that's fantastic. You know, it's one of the things that I never really considered when I started my channel, is the fact that people all around the world could end up watching my videos, and I'm really happy that that is the case. You know, it's good. I'm pleased that I mean, technically I'm international. It's a very big-headed way of saying it, but it's kind of true. People all over the world are indeed watching my videos, and because of that, people speaking different languages comment on my videos, and I can sort of tell sometimes if... Well, hang on, I need to phrase this very carefully, because it has to be... I don't want to offend people, obviously, because as I always say, if someone is French, for example, and they speak English, their English is better than my French, you know. I cannot criticize someone else for learning my language when I haven't learnt theirs, if they make mistakes, you know. It's as simple as that. I think it's a very admirable... I can't even speak now. I can't speak English, never mind other people. I think it's a very admirable thing to do, to learn another language, and it's something that I did attempt at school. I have GCSEs in both French and Spanish, but since I left school, I've not really practiced either of them. So, I could sort of hold a very brief conversation in both languages, but not one really to last very long. Anyway, what I wanted to say was, people who have English as a second language, you can tell by certain phrases and certain sort of the way that words are used and the order that they're used in, and that's cool, you know. As I say, I haven't got a problem with that. It's my little tell. It's just me saying it's okay. They haven't got English as a first language. You know, I respect the fact that they are using English, because I wouldn't be able to understand what they were saying otherwise. So I'm not going to criticize that at all. That's not the problem. The problem is tone. And tone is something that, as you change between languages, tone can sometimes get lost. And what I mean by tone is, as an example, people who are asking me about save files and about helping them with certain issues that they are having, I don't have that much of a problem with people asking me for help, but when they're asking me to do this, that, the other, and then even more stuff, there's only certain things that I can do. And I've said in the past that if people have got problems with the save file, I can't really help them, because it works at my end, and I have other people who have said to me that it works. So it's something at your end, and I really can't help you with that, because I'm not going to be coming over trying to fix your computer for you. That's really not what I do. The real bugbear for me right now is some comments come across as quite demanding. And this is where I want to talk about the tone and the whole language barrier, because it might not be intentional. So people have been asking me about this save file. And I will tell you now, before I go back into what I want to talk about, this save file will not be available for a long time yet. The reason being, there might be people out there who just want to pick up with where I've left off. So they might be happy to take the file as it is and work on it as I've left it. But I'm not happy with that. You know, the last map, I was not going to work on it anymore. That had pretty much been decided by you guys. Everyone voted, or those who did vote, voted for the new map. So we carried on with the new map, which meant the old map was then redundant. So I was more than happy making the old map available, because it wouldn't be worked on anymore. But this map is still being worked on, and it's not just being worked on camera, it's being worked on off camera as well. I do little tweaks here there from time to time. So I don't think it's wise to make a map available that within 24 hours could be completely different. You know, this line right now, if I'd made this map available last week, you wouldn't have had the regional line, you wouldn't have had this line, you wouldn't have had the majority of the diesel line either. And I do feel like there would be people who would be quite upset about that. And I'm totally with you on that, by the way. I would be upset too. That's why the map's not available. So for those of you who are asking, the map is not available. As I say, the problem I have had is with the tone of it. It comes across as being very demanding. People are saying, give me the map, basically. And no is my answer. I'm not giving you the map. And I've explained that, and that's hopefully not a problem anymore. But I just... It's something that's been quite common in my life, is people nagging me. And I've sort of developed this habit now that when someone nags me, I go even further in the opposite direction. So people are nagging me to make the save file available. My immediate response is, don't make the save file available. It's quite petty, but it's within my nature, I guess. That's the issue that I really wanted to discuss, was some people who actually, I mean, the majority of these people I believe are English as well, which makes it a little bit more confusing as to why it comes across so demanding. But hang on, let me just count out this block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I don't like the tone in some comments. It comes across as very demanding, almost like I'm here just to please you kind of thing, and that's not why I do this. You know, I like the fact that my audience are engaged in what I do. I think that's fantastic, and I like the fact that we can discuss ideas openly and people make suggestions, and some of those suggestions are the best ideas I've ever heard in my life. I just don't like how some people seem to think that I'm at their beck and call all the time. I do not agree with that whatsoever, and I think that needs to stop. Like now needs to stop, because that is very, very frustrating when people do that. But as I say, the majority of the time people are great. You know, I'm not singling individuals out. It's a collection of people, not just individuals. But as I say, I'm not here just for your benefit. I'm here because I enjoy what I do, and I'm here because I think, you know, people would like to see what I do. And to be honest, in most respects, I'm right there. People do like what I do, and the majority of you guys are fantastic. Best audience I've ever had. It's not exactly saying much, but it's also true. So yeah, as I say, it's that one little thing that really grates with me, is just how people leave comments. It's not a massive issue. It's just one that has been bugging me that I wanted to get off my chest. You know, hopefully you guys understand. I imagine there's a lot of people out there who get just as infuriated by it as I do, and we can sort of move on. Speaking of comments, though, I've had some really good ones again, really good suggestions, really good ideas, because last week's videos, and indeed yesterday's video, were recorded well in advance, as I said, because of my hand, which it's probably best if I don't talk about my hand, to be quite honest. But the ideas that people were having, it is almost like that psychic connection again that I just talked about last week. I think it was last week. People are suggesting things that either I've already done or are seriously considering doing, and it's very cool, let's say, when people do that, because it means that we are all on the same wavelength, which some people might find quite freaky. I think it's cool. As I say, I think it's interesting that we all come up with similar ideas. So the one that I'm really referring to is, and I had my phone on standby ready and then I put it away again. Let's get it back up quickly. It was a suggestion by, oh god, where is it? Where is it? BNSF and SP. Have I mentioned this before? I don't think I have mentioned this before. The line going north could be a commuter line using Dutch push-pull equipment, and you can call it Guardtrans. That name, by the way, keep an eye out for that, because that is a good name. I have a feeling that name will be cropping up again at some point in the future. But I believe, unless I've got my wires crossed, I believe the line you are referring to is the one, the regional line, that I started today's episode with. If that's the case, then you would have watched yesterday's episode by now, so you'll know that I was sort of one step ahead of you there, and have indeed made that so. But again, I find that really funny that it was just a comment, you know. It was just an idea. It was a very good idea, but it was something that I'd already done. Never mind considered doing. I'd actually done it and recorded the episode, and it was edited and ready to go. So I do find that very fascinating that that's so. I guess it just shows that people who watch these videos are very much in sync with what I'm trying to achieve with this series, which again is absolutely fantastic. Some of the other comments, there's one that confused me. James Moton. I did ask you to clarify this, and you didn't get back to me, but hopefully you can now. You said, why do you put one-way arrows such that the one-way arrows that would be on the right in the USA be on the left and vice versa? That's the bit that I didn't understand. You know, that's the bit that don't really get what you mean. It doesn't, you know, I've read it in a few different ways. But, you know, I tried to answer the question just by saying that I put my one-way arrows so that we have like avenues with the trams running through the middle, and then every now and then when they cross over, I tend to do right, you know where I'm from, I've said it enough times, but near me there's a town called Welwyn Garden City, and there's one particular street in Welwyn Garden City that is probably, I'd say if you live in and around the Welwyn Hatfield area, and maybe if you live sort of around Hertfordshire, you will know when I say the word Parkway. I'd consider it to be quite, it's not famous or anything like that, but if you've watched the film World's End, and you'll see the scene where he jumps over the fence into the front garden, that was filmed on Parkway, and in fact, two of the bars they go to were filmed very close to there as well. One of them is the bar that I used to go to a lot, which I believe was the second pub they go to. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's now called the Two Willows. It used to be called the Cork, and I used to go there every single weekend. Probably a misspent youth, but there you go. I used to go there a lot, so it's quite interesting to see that in the film. Anyway, Parkway. Parkway is a wide avenue type road. You can almost imagine the tramway running down the middle of it. There isn't one, which is a crying shame, but you can imagine it. Because of that, there's one-way streets. It's basically two one-way streets with a garden in the middle, and the one-way streets run in opposite directions. So on the left-hand side heads north, right-hand side heads down. If you're looking north, obviously, heads south, not down. So that's kind of what I got the idea for these avenues from. There are loads of cities around the world that have these avenues with the trams in the middle. And again, I'm inspired by lots of different places. It's very, very difficult to pinpoint exact locations and say that's where I got that idea from, because there are so many. But going back to Parkway, every now and then on Parkway there are areas where you can cross from one road to the other. But even they are all one-way streets. So there's a fountain sort of halfway down Parkway. Just to the north of the fountain, there's a road that runs from west to east, and just south of the fountain, there's a road that runs from east to west, and they're the main cross points. There are a couple of others. Some of them are two-way as you get down towards the end, the south end of Parkway. But that's what I was going for with my avenues. I put these one-way crossovers in. Sometimes I put two-way crossovers in. If you're wondering where the inspiration came from, it came from Parkway, in that sense. The tram side of it comes from, as I say, all different places, but the actual avenue side of it comes from Parkway. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by the one-way arrows would be on the right in the US, on the left, because I'm English. We drive on the left in England. Granted, the majority of the world drive on the right-hand side, but England drive on the left. I believe Hong Kong drive on the left, and so do Japan. So totally irrelevant as to which countries do and don't drive on the left, but my experience, we drive on the left. So all of my rail is on the left. I believe the TGV runs on the left because of the whole Eurostar thing. They used to share tracks, sometimes they still do. I believe they do run on the left as well. It's interesting actually, there are high-speed lines in the world that run on the left, and I think that's the influence that the railways have had on the world, and the influence that Britain have had on the world because of the railways. That's sort of been adopted and used all around the world. It's not always the case. Sometimes they do run on the right, sometimes they run on the left. It tends to be quite randomized these days as well. It's sort of, if a line's modernized, they tend to switch over, but not always. But yeah, I drive on the left, you know, so everything I build drives on the left. I'm not changing it. It'd be stupid to change it now because there'll be a hell of a lot of work to do. But if that's the question you're asking, why do they drive on the left, then hopefully that's your answer. But if it's not, then I really don't understand what the question was. I've obviously missed something. But that's that one. Baptiste also commented, reminding me of my destructive nature. Granted, I apologise for that. I am very destructive. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and again I've sort of said this before, once my videos are on YouTube, I try not to watch them on YouTube because I want my view count to be quite authentic. So even if it's just one, if I just sit and watch it once, it feels wrong to do that, because I'd rather that one was taken up by an actual viewer than by me. It's a thing of mine. When I first started making YouTube videos, there was the warning of don't abuse the system, don't continuously watch your own video over and over to get the ad revenue up. I don't do that. Anyone who does that, you're a moron, basically. Let's be honest. It makes no difference, really. 1 or 2 views does not make that much of a difference. If you have something set up that does thousands and thousands of views, then you're just, I don't know. There's a word for it somewhere, I'm sure. I just don't really want to say it right now. It's not the smartest thing to do. Let's put it that way. So I don't do that. And because of that, I tend to avoid watching my videos once they're on YouTube. Sometimes I watch them in Media Player before I upload or after I upload. But the majority of the time, I don't have access to my own videos. It's my little unwritten rule. Don't watch your own videos. Other people can do it. That's fine, as long as they're not abusing the system. But I just don't do it. It's not my idea of fun, really. I love my videos. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of my videos, but I kind of know what happens, so it spoils the ending. It's like watching a film that you've made. You know what's going to happen, so is there any reason to watch it apart from just to like proof view it, I suppose? Anyway, the point I'm making is people sometimes comment with timestamps, which is good. I do like that. I like the reference side of it. However, this is my own inquisitive nature, by the way, so this is me moaning almost at myself. Sometimes I'm not even in the house, so if someone comments with a timestamp and I'm at home, I will go and try and rewatch the video on Media Player to that point and get the reference. But there's times where I just can't do that. I'm not at home, don't have access to the computer, don't have access to my videos, signal's not great, so I can't even watch it on my phone. They're the ones where I'm sort of sat there thinking, I don't know what this is about. So, George Da Silva, you got this last week, I'm afraid. Nothing to do with what you've done nothing wrong. It was just I couldn't get to the video, so I was asking for context as to what the comment was about. And as it happens, it was I was talking about an underground line that runs on top of an overground line. And the station I was trying to think of was Whitechapel. As George Da Silva has told me, by saying Whitechapel with an exclamation mark. And the timestamp. And again, timestamps is cool, because it means if I do have access to the video, I can just flick across to the quoted time and find the clip in question. But I don't always have that luxury, unfortunately. So you might find times where you've put a timestamp and you've sort of got me going, can you tell me what that was still? Not really. I'm not the most helpful person at times, but with ones like that, I'm trying to explain really why that is. It's not that I can't. No, it's not that I'm not interested in what you're saying. It's that I need to know what the context is so I can reply. But yeah, that was that one. Other comments. Michael Taylor, how do you get the trains with the UK liveries? I think did I cover that one? No, I didn't cover that one. But I sort of let slip some of my plans in that comment thread. So those of you who have seen that, that was on episode 85. So if you want to go check out episode 85 to get the context again, or if you just want to read the comments, I'm going to read the comments out now anyway. Oh, Baptiste, you might want to close your eyes for this next little bit, and you can open them again. There we go. Right. So Michael Taylor was asking me about UK train liveries. So I was saying you can get the new GRFs. If you want to change individual liveries, I'll show you this quickly. It doesn't work for all of them, obviously. It's very limited. But if you go into the colour scheme window, and you've got all the different vehicles here. So you see I've got DMUs are currently the standard colour, which is blue. That's the colour of my company. But if I want to, I can change them to something else, like green or black. Actually, is black even a colour in this game? I'm not sure if it is. Grey, white, that sort of thing. And I might change the colours of my DMUs in the future and say that a new franchise holder has come in. That's not a bad idea. But then we got talking about plans and ideas, and I'll admit, I wasn't planning on revealing too much about the future plans of the series, but I sort of felt coaxed into it in the end because I had Michael Taylor bragging about his ideas. For some reason, it turned into a competition. Also, by the way, anyone who has Twitter and watches this series and has their own network and wants to share it with me, tweet me. Obviously, you can't send it via YouTube comments. That's fine, but tweet me. You know. You all know my Twitter by now. I put it at the end of every video. So for those of you, this is a test. For those of you who watch the video ends, you'll know my Twitter. For those of you who know me, you'll know my Twitter because it's a very obvious Twitter handle. But tweet me because Michael Taylor was telling me about his network, and I asked him to tweet me, and he doesn't have Twitter, which is fine. But those of you who do have Twitter and want to show me what you're up to, tweet me. I've actually said those of you who have downloaded my old map and have made changes to it, tweet me the outcome. You know, show me some pictures. If you can embed videos into your tweets and send me them, that's cool as well. I'm very, very interested. Believe me, I will make the time to sit down and look at those, because I'm very interested in seeing what people have done with my... Let's close this window. What people have done with my original map. Again, it's morbid curiosity more than anything. But as I say, it turned into a bit of a competition between Michael and myself. And I probably let slip a little too much, and I might want to revise these numbers, because at the time they're realistic figures as far as I'm concerned, but I feel like some of them might need to be changed slightly. So we got on to the conversation of mainlines. And by the way, the last comment in this chain says it would be funny if you talked about this conversation in the video. Yeah, well, here I am. So the conversation got onto mainlines. Let's go back to the start of the conversation, shall we? We got onto the topic of mainlines, and Michael was asking me how many mainlines I was planning on building, and then he started telling me about how many mainlines he had. And what sort of transpired was he's going to have a lot of mainlines. 9 main lines and 4 high-speed lines he's got listed so far. I then quoted some numbers, which are actually the numbers that I want to have. These aren't ones that I made up on the fly. These are the number of main lines that I want to have. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did not. Sorry, I keep distracting myself. I quoted the number of main lines that I want to have by the end of... not even the series, by the end of sort of the construction work around Guard City. So I would like 15 main lines, 45 branch lines, 5 high-speed lines, and then in Guard City itself, so the actual city itself, 10 metro lines, 10 regional lines, and 10 tram lines. Now, I say 15 main lines. It'll probably end up being probably more than that, actually. Because, I mean, God knows how many we're up to now. I'm on 8 already. Including, let me count this quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's going to be 10 once these 2 main lines out of GSMI are completed. Don't worry, your speakers haven't broken. I'm just counting this out again. There we go. So it's going to be 10 once these 2 are completed. Plus, I kind of want to build another terminus still in Guard City, but it's going to be on the very, very outreaches of the city. Sort of borderline, almost Dartbourne way. I kind of want to build it to the east. I think the east is probably going to be the best spot. But I don't know. I'm going to do some surveying. Again, I can't speak. What is wrong with me? I'm going to do some surveying at some stage off camera, so that when we do actually start doing it, it will all work out first time. But yeah, that's the ideal numbers. They're the ideal numbers. And when I say I want to revise those figures, I'm not backing down at all, because I actually think we're going to end up with more than that, which is why I wanted to revise the numbers, so that people aren't expecting something and then suddenly it's doubled or tripled or whatever. There's going to be a lot, is the simple answer. High speed is something that's going to take up a lot of room on this map once it's done. As I say, we're going to have a lot of high speed lines. We're going to have a lot of local lines. We're going to have a lot of branch lines. It's just part of the plan. And going along with that, there's going to be, when I say the whole branch line thing, I love branch lines now. I used to hate building them, but now I think they're really cool. And lots of people have been asking me to do them. So it's one of the reasons why they're happening more. In fact, I think George De Silva was one of those individuals who asked me about them in the past. So there you go. But as I say, it's going to be hectic trying to get it all done. It's going to be hectic, but there's no time constraint on this series. Everybody is here for the long run, hopefully. So we might as well. I'll tease you every now and then with little not spoilers, little well, teasers about what I'm planning on doing. But don't expect me to reveal the entire plan, because you'll be very disappointed if that's what you're waiting for. I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to stop with teasers. So I'm just thinking about the name of this station as well. There we go. Nice and simple. So, yeah, they're the numbers. Roughly 15, 45, 5, and 10. Excuse me. High speed lines might even get bigger in the future as well. Might get more of them. Other comments. James Moten again asking me about my computer specs. I am terrible when it comes to remembering what makes my computer tick. Like, I am the worst. Basically, let's do this properly. Basically, my computer, I bought all the parts myself and I built it myself, but I never bothered to actually look at what specs I had. But because people have been asking me, I will consider starting to put my specs at the bottom of the description for those of you who do want to check it out. I can tell you with most certainty that most of the stuff I use is Asus. My motherboard is Asus. I believe my graphics card is also Asus, and other bits and pieces. The reason I'm saying other bits and pieces is because I'm distracting myself again by building. My motherboard is Asus. It's oh crud, I do know what it's called. Aha, the M5 A97 LE R2.0, and I know that because I've got the support disk in front of me, because that could have been one of the things that broke when I had those problems a few weeks ago. So that's one of them that people have been asking me about. The others, the video card, I mean, I need to look this stuff up. There's no way I could tell you right now because it will all be false information anyway, because I'll be making it up. So I probably will look up what I've got, remind myself of what I've got, and then put it in the description. So for those of you who are wanting to know, hang about, let me put it in the description, or I might even put it on my website. I'm thinking of coming up with an FAQ page on my website, so if you have questions that you want to ask me, now's a very good time to ask them before I set up the FAQ. Otherwise, you know, people are going to keep asking me the same questions, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm constantly answering the same question, because it'll be like banging my head against a wall. And it's not those people's fault, because they might be new to the channel. And again, I've said this before, if you're new to the channel and you want to know the answer to a question, in the future I'll direct you to my FAQ page. Right now, obviously, I don't have one, and because you're new to the channel you won't know the answer, so it's not your fault whatsoever. But it's very frustrating for me to be having to answer the same question all the time, as I'm sure you can understand. Anyone would get annoyed if they had to answer the same question every time. But I'm not complaining. How can I possibly complain? You know, I never anticipated this many people would be watching my channel, and yet I still feel a little bit disappointed that the sub count isn't higher. But it's constantly rising, and it's because of you guys. You watch the videos, which makes the view count go up, which then makes YouTube pay attention and put my videos higher up in the search results, which then makes other people find my videos. So I really do owe you. Well, actually, no, that's an incorrect statement. I don't owe you a drink or anything like that, but I owe you a thank you for making my videos more and more popular. More and more people paying attention to them, which is always a good thing. How could I possibly complain about that? But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Let's have an FAQ going, shall we? If it's about computer specs, I will pop them in there as well. If it's about my setup, you know, how I've got my computer and monitors and stuff, then drop that down and I'll pop that in as well. I might just estimate some people's questions or predict what people are going to ask me and just put the answers in anyway. Again, I mean, I've been doing this for 3 years now. I do get asked common questions a fair amount. So, I mean, they're not really predictions, are they? They're certainties that people are going to ask me about my specs. Everyone asks about specs. I had a little rant last week about 4K, and to be honest, I had a conversation with my brother the other day about 4K, and he's probably, I mean, he's not as interested in technology as I am, but I think we both came to the conclusion that neither of us can really work out what the big deal is about 4K in terms of gaming. Like, some of the best games ever made are from the 90s. You know, the original Metal Gear Solid, great game. Halo, which is not from the 90s, by the way, but it's an old game. The graphics on those games compared to now are so bad, but the games are classics. Are you really that bothered about graphics that you wouldn't play a game like Metal Gear Solid? To be honest, I've never played Metal Gear Solid, but I really want to now. I feel like it was just out of my generation when it came out. I believe it came out in 1998, maybe around 1998, so I would have been 5 years old then. Not really of the age to be playing that kind of computer game. But I've since watched videos of it, and it looks like an awesome game. You know, it's so revolutionary, and there's so many games from that time that are still being referenced to today because of how great they were. And the graphics were probably, oh, the graphics were, there's no question about it. They were top of the range at the time. And they themselves were revolutionary, but nowadays they're rubbish. Let's be honest, the graphics are poor. They still look good. Like, in terms of aging, they've aged well, but compared to modern games, they don't look good at all. But who cares? Because it's not... You don't buy a game for its graphics. If you're buying a game for its graphics, what are you doing with your life? You know? You want a game to look good, sure, but it's not the be-all and end-all. You don't want to be running around an 8-bit pixel world in 2016 on your PS4 or your Xbox One. But at the same time, you don't really want to be struggling to render the game properly on your screen because it's trying to load these huge graphical worlds and you just haven't got the spec for it. I believe there's a middle ground. I'm going off on a rant again, and I apologise for those of you who aren't really interested, but it really does bug me that people put so much time and energy into talking about how great their 4K rig is, when really, like, the only person who's satisfied by that is them. And even then, are they really satisfied, or are they just trying to find a way of lifting their status just that little bit more? You know, it's a very interesting question, let's say, as to what is it they're really bragging about. Personally, I'm happy with HD 1080. You know, 1080 for me is more than enough. Even 720. Most of my videos, I only found this out the other day because I asked my brother to check out that video. Most of my videos apparently are only uploaded in 720, which I do need to look into, by the way, because I did have it set up for 1080. But I think that's perfectly good. It means you can, you know, stream it on a PC perfectly fine. But if you want to watch it on a mobile or a tablet, you can do that too. You don't have to sit there for ages waiting for 1440 to load up, which I'm still not 100% convinced YouTube even goes up to. You know, I asked for people's opinions on it, and most of them were sort of along the lines of, doesn't really matter. And you're right, it doesn't. I just find it astonishing. It's almost like, imagine if I started a video and said, hey guys, before we get this series started, I just want to tell you about how much RAM I've got. Because I've got so much RAM. You know, I've got so many, what are they called? Memory cards. No, they're called This is me once again showing that computers are not my strong point. But imagine if I just spent 20 minutes talking to you about the greatness of my RAM. You know, would you be interested? Probably not. You know, if I was telling you about just how great my mouse is, you know, I can click and it finds the exact pixel that I'm hovered over and clicks on that exact spot. No one's interested. So why do people do it with their graphics cards? You know, I don't care. I find it puts me off, really, when people are bragging about the computer. I don't really talk about my PC much unless it's broken, because it's a tool. You know, it's my tool. That's what I use it for. I don't sit there salivating about how great it is, or doing other things about how great it is. It doesn't interest me. I might just set up another account so I can comment on people's videos saying no one cares every time they're talking about how great their graphics are. Anyway, that's really... This is just me wasting time now whilst I build these stations. If you agree with me, then, you know, awesome. If you don't agree with me, then, you know, awesome. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. Just remember that mine are better. No, that's not true. Just remember that, you know, everyone are, wow, English much. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. Let's not criticise people necessarily on their opinions, but we can still criticise what people do, can't we? That's what makes life fun. So we are nearly done with building this line. And once again, I'm in that predicament of, where the hell am I going to build the depot? And at this point in time, I really, really, really don't want to be building brand new depots here, there and everywhere. Because I think at some point in the future, we are going to be deconstructing the lot anyway. So I am very, very tempted to try out something. So here we have our regional line. As you know, it goes right up to the north. All the way up to Fort Hampton. Not quite right up to the north, but you get the idea. And I have a feeling there's no trains running on it right now because of that issue that I showed you at the start of the episode. But I want to do some little things up at this end of the line, since we've got no trains here. I just want to pop that there, move this crossover back one tile. In fact, I'm probably going to have to move this crossover back several tiles. If I move that signal to there, that signal to there, get rid of that signal and that signal, and then put this crossover here, so you there and you there, and then from here, I kind of want this to go all the way across like that. Yeah. And then I want this to come across like this to come across like this, and then that to go there. And then we'll get rid of that little cross there. Oh, wait, no, I needed that one. We'll get rid of that little cross there. Then we'll get rid of that one, and they're all good. Let's get rid of this one. You know, I can't put that one back in, but what I can do is pop this one back in, like so. And then if I put a signal there and a signal there, get rid of you and you, and then I'll put a new set of waypoints here. Whoever it was asking me about waypoints. There you go. You've got yourself another one. Right, and this is going to be Fort Hampton RE. Like so. And then we're going to grab all of the trains. There you are. Yep. Knew you'd be stuck. Right, where's Fort Hampton? There it is. So before Fort Hampton, you go to there. Alright, let's go sort this out, shall we? Let's go sort this out. What's really frustrating is this. How on earth do I change this? The only way I can think of doing it is... Actually, no, even that won't work. That's really frustrating. Because then that one's going to want to go this way as well. I'm going to have to do this and pop that there as well. Maybe that will start work. Oh no, that's not going to work, is it? Because this sodding thing. Come on, get out of the way. You move. Right, now this one will be released, which means this one can be released. I think. Oh, you're going to release one from there, aren't you? Okay. Well, that's going to run onto the main line. That might fix it. So I'm going to leave it again, just to see if that fixes it. What's going on here? Oh man, my whole metro system is messed up right now because of this whole coming in and out of this single depot thing. It's fixable, I just don't want to do it right now. I can't bring myself to do it. Anyway, we're going to do some extra little building work here. So we've got this line going into... Let's just rename some of these. RE. RE. Once again, if you haven't noticed already, this is going to be a slightly longer episode than usual. So we've... that's what I was going to do. So we've connected this line here up to the main line here. And as you know, this line eventually connects up with the other main line via the east-west link. Actually, no, that's not true. Once we get to Fort Hampton, these two lines split. They're connected via this little chord line here, but they're also connected by the east-west chord line, which is further up. But you'll know where it is when we get to it in a second. So, here is our spot, Plaything Field. Big station, lots of passengers, 2,000 odd. This line here will eventually be taken up, as you can see, by our other main line coming out of GSMI. This one comes from Fort Hampton, this one comes from the other interchange station, which is over here at Trainingworth. This is going to go to Cunningwell Interchange. This line here is going to head up to another northern terminus, which I haven't planned out yet. Somewhere on this main line, and I'm very tempted to put it in Plaything Field just because of how big the town is. Somewhere around here, we're going to have our train building facility. And the way I'm going to do that is kind of... Yeah, no, I can do it. I can do it. So, the actual train care facility, it's not even a train care facility, it's going to be a proper, you know, trains will be built here. Trains will, every single train on the electrified network will start from this spot. It's going to be my dispatch area. So we're going to do something a bit like this. And then from here we're going to have lines that will break off. So we'll pop one here, we'll pop one here, and one here, I suppose. Like that. And I want to plan this site out very carefully to make sure that we've got enough room for everything. So again, we're going to do a crossover here and here. This is just to get more trains to where they actually want to be. Obviously we have no connection to this line right now, but in the future I will do that. I'm judging it at the moment that Fort Hampton will be the place where people want to go. And they, you know, not where people want to go, where the trains want to go. And they can actually connect back up over there again fairly easily. So that's pretty damn, you know, you can't really get much better than that. Right, so at this point here we're going to have loads of tracks coming off like this. Now the other idea that somebody had, and I'm so sorry that I can't remember who it was right now, was to have a test track. The test track will be built. Yes. It won't be built today, but it will, excuse me, it will be built. Right now, I'm just going to go with a very basic setup here, and it will just expand as and when needed. So, I'm going to do the basic flat roof shed. Actually, no. Let's try that again. The basic flat roof shed. Now, I think 12 is probably the best size for this. So if I do that, and then if I come down here to fixtures, yep, and grab you and do the rest. That's one thing I don't think we have on here actually is we've got the sheds, we've got the yard tiles, but I don't think I've got anything. I've got a turntable, I suppose. I could pop a turntable in. Actually, I might use this style instead. That's slightly better. We haven't got anything depot related, like train wash facilities or anything like that. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, we're going to pop this up here. Somewhere. Do we have buffer stops anywhere? We got these ones. That looks a bit out of place. Like that. But then I've got this as well. How does that look? That doesn't look great. But, I mean, we can work with it for now, I suppose. So we could do that. Like that. And then over this side, we'll have all the actual depots where trains will be dispatched from. So I could do 3, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like this. And I can actually have another line that will come across here. And not there. Bad place for it. One like that, I suppose, and one just like that. So that kind of gets set up. So we're going to change this to Hinfingway Train Factory. As I said, the test track will come later. Don't worry, the test track will be existing in the near future. The next thing I need to do is put a link line in. Let's keep that open, just as a reference, because we're going to have to come back here at some point anyway. Let's carry on scrolling this way. By the way, this town now, Fennington, is massive! The little regional station we've got here, I've double tracked it, by the way. Or doubled the number of tracks. So it's now 4 tracks instead of 2. More on that in a future episode as well. How's this working now? Trains are moving. Trains are moving. So I might have fixed that problem. Having trains terminate here, I think what the problem is, this line here is so long. At this side, there are no block. Actually, I could do that, to be honest. If I take out these signals. Might have to wait a little while, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? So this train will come through, like it's doing. It's now departing. And this train should then move forward, which then frees this train and I can get rid of the signal. There are a lot of trains queued up here, as you might have noticed. These trains haven't even finished auto-filling yet. That's how messed up this entire thing is. Oh, I can't even send that one back now. That's annoying. Alright, we'll let that do its thing for a second. Because now we need to build a connecting line here. My English has been terrible today, guys. I'm so sorry. There was me talking about tone and all of that stuff, and it turns out the one who can't actually speak English is me. Right. So what we're going to end up with here, actually, I kind of like that how it was. But oh well. What we're going to end up with here is a line that's going to come down like this, and it's going to connect across like this. And then from here we're going to have a connection to there, and we're also going to have a connection to there. I'm then going to upgrade this, so you're going to be that type, and you're going to be that type. And now that's all connected up. So in theory, the train care facility, the train building facility, is now connected to not just this station, but the entirety of this main line, if the trains reverse at GSMI, which every train that comes out of that train care facility for this line, GSMI will appear at some point in its plan, I'm sure. Have you gone yet? No, you haven't. Why do you keep... Stop you. Right, that should get that train out, which means I can take away that damn signal, which then means I can take away this damn waypoint, and this should actually work properly then. It's one of these things. I could have built the station here, and I might even move the station here in the future, but there was no town nearby, and I don't think I can actually fit another town in here because we've got 3 relatively close. Do these guys hate me now? Yes. Don't know why. I thought I was good to them. The metro is a massive problem. I'm tempted to take out 3.5 to try and make that work better. But I don't know. It might work, it might not. Who knows? Right, is this train going to move forward now? Yes, it is. Good. Which then means I can get rid of this. Yes, good. Which then means can't get rid of that just yet, but I'll be able to in a second. Why is this train not moving? Ah, that's why. How about now? Nope. What's in the way now? Oh, it's because you have no clear route to your depot. Fair enough. Okay. We'll leave that like it is then. We'll just start this up again. Okay. Very interesting. Could be here for a while, waiting for this to sort itself out. But that's fine, because the main thing is we've now got this line clear to go. The metro I'll fix off camera. I really don't want to do it on camera. All it's really left to do, if I open that as well and pin it, all that's really left to do is build these trains. So oh wait, no, I have got one other thing to do. Okay, so this is the Great Western Line. We've established that. 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2. Okay, it's not the nicest way of doing it, but we'll go with this. So you are GSMI, Great Western Main Line, stopping. No, not stopping. Stopping. Okay. And then here GSMI GWML Express. Only 2 platforms for the Express, I hear you cry. Yes, I didn't really anticipate that until just now either. We'll find a way around that, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll find a way around that. Otherwise it's going to be very frustrating indeed. Let's get some trains, shall we? So the Electrostar is a good candidate. So is the BREL Class 321, which is probably the one I'm going to use for this. Just because we don't want to go top of the range straight away. We sort of want to go lesser down first. Again, I'm really not getting my words out properly. We do have excess trains sat not being used in depots, but I'm not going to use them for this. I'm going to stick with... Why did I put that extra carriage in? I'm going to stick with buying new trains for this line, because I feel like it is a brand new main line. I might use the existing trains for branch lines, electrified branch lines. I think that's probably going to be the best bet. Right. So this line doesn't actually have proper train care facilities right now. That's part of the plan. It's part of what I want to do with this series as a whole, really, is change the way that I'm doing depot designs. So we'll come back to that again in a second. Right now I'm going to do these as singular rather than doubles. Again, we'll come back to that in a second. So this is an all-stopping service, as you might have gathered by the fact that it's stopping at all stations. It's the easiest one to do, really. Get passengers at all the stations and then start introducing faster services. I've kind of done the opposite in the past and shot myself in the foot a little bit. This is probably the more efficient way of actually doing it, is to start slow and get faster. As you can see, we've made it there. Now I'm going to head all the way back. Like so. Like so. Right, now I really wish that there was a copy and paste function. I'm going to try something, and it might not work. I'm going to try it anyway. If it does work, then fantastic. If it doesn't work, then oh dear. But you never know, it might work. Right. So we've got that all done. We're going to pop you as far end. Now here's where hopefully the clever bit begins. If I do that and clone this train like this, and then do control go to and then do that, it doesn't work. Okay, damn it. I was hoping I'd be able to copy the orders over, because there is no copy and paste function, which is so frustrating. Because what I actually want to do is run this service a few times. So I think 4 will probably be the best, but for now I'm going to do probably 2, just as an example. But then off camera I'll increase it to 4. So the idea here is we're going to get more runs per service out of these trains, because there is a lot of downtime in their timetables. You know, they do one quick scoot of the route and then they go back to the depot, and then they sit in the storage for however long, like 1,000 ticks, anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000 ticks they sit in the depot, and it's a bit of a waste of time. Anyone who's out there thinking that, I agree with you, it is a waste of time. So I want to change that. And it also then justifies what I'm doing here, the incredibly long journey that this train is then going to take once it's finished its journey outright. So I'm thinking 2 was a good option, but actually, now that I'm doing it, 3 is probably going to be better. So we are going to do this journey one more time, and I know that it's not the most exciting thing to watch, and again I apologise for that. But if we do it one more time, that station is going to be renamed, by the way. Brickworks does not do it for me. Also, I might have put these waypoints the wrong way around. We'll come back to that. Actually, I've had a bit of an idea. We'll come back to that. So there's St. Michael again. Right, one more time. Promise. One more time, and then that's it. We'll start doing proper episodic stuff again, and not just going backwards and forwards over the same route. This is technically, I think, this would be the 5th time you've seen this now. First time actually building it, the 2nd time putting the stations in, the 3rd time on the first one of these routes, and then 4th and 5th obviously come after. Why am I even saying that? You'd know what I mean by that. Just, yeah, I'm going to stop talking about that now. So, again, you're smart people, you've probably worked this out now. There is no other depot on this line. I might put train storage facilities, so that it will come out of the station just to free up a platform. But I will not put depots. I'll just put sidings. That's because the only depot this train is ever going to go to is the one at the factory where it was built. Because that is kind of how the real world works. The train is built. It does receive general maintenance at its storage facility, at its depot. But it doesn't really get proper rebuilds. I'm constantly reading in my magazine about trains going to different work sites around the country to have tyres turned and things like that. So I want to replicate that, and it's not quite done how I'm doing it here. There isn't like one single location. It tends to be lots of different locations dotted around the place. But for this, it makes more sense to do it the way I am doing it, just because it is slightly easier. Right, so you are no loading. In the future we will have bigger depots, so this will get bigger, and we will have more around the country. So this is the sort of main electric one, and the fact that the majority of these lines will link up at this station anyway, it sort of justified building it here. And it's currently named after Hinfingley, which is this small town here. Hinfingway, sorry. I kind of want to name it after Renway, because then it almost justifies Renway being there, because it's such a small village. I might have accidentally demolished it without even noticing. But if I call it after it, that might not happen. I can't guarantee anything, but it might not happen. Alright, no loading. No unloading. You're a service. You're no loading. You're no unloading. Like that. Okie dokie. All of the St. Michael's / St. Peter's need to be far end. Otherwise we're going to have trains sticking out where they shouldn't be. I've used the waypoint, which is always good. That one's already done. Right. Timetable. You are all going to be 350 ticks, except for the St. Michael's, which are going to be 600 ticks. So again, this is going to be quite an effort to actually get all of... There you are. You're going to be 600. Like so. And then there should be another one. There. You're going to be 600. Actually, let's do this quickly, because I did this before and then it turned out to be a really bad idea. 250. Okay. Now all of these are going to be... Let's do 500. Do a simple double. So there's going to be some downtime when they're in the platforms, but they will have passengers on board. So if they've got a paying commodity on board, it's more justifiable than if they're just sitting there empty. Because okay, the clock ticks and the cargo becomes less valuable the longer it takes. But I also think of it as, if it's only 50% full and it still has to sit there for 100 ticks, it could end up leaving at 75% full. So we end up gaining more money still. Or it almost cancels each other out, is what I'm trying to say. It almost cancels it out. Right. Renway Train Factory, you're going to sit here for 1,500 ticks. You're then going to go to the depot for, yeah, the full 250. And then you're going to go back to the train care facility for another 1,500 ticks. Let's try that, shall we? If it doesn't work, I'll fix it off camera. But I want to give it a go, just to see how well it does work. The last thing we need to do, of course, is ASE GSM P/MI to where are you? I saw you just now. D and PM. D and PM. And you're a 6-length train, so you're 12 cars long. And you'll be somewhere, there you are. Right. Close this. Close this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's too many. Eight should do it. Right. One more thing before I start this. I just want to make sure that the route is definitely going to work. So you're going to come this way, I imagine. And then you're going to go down this way. You're going to start following this main line across. You're going to get to Fort Hampton. Once you get to Fort Hampton, you should come through this one here, and then you're going to have to go right the way across the flat junction to come through this platform here, which is the only platform you can come through, to then come across onto the regional tracks, which should then take you to GSMI. So you're going to have to come all the way through here. Admittedly, you're not stopping any of these stations, and the trains should be out of your way for the majority. The other thing that I should probably do... No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to change the speed limit of these. I think... I don't know, actually. It's tricky. Alright, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. Where's Fort Hampton again? I'm sorry, guys. I know this is a really... You just want to see trains running. I know. I want to as well. But I just have to make sure that I get this right first time, because this could be very, very problematic if I get this wrong. So I'm going to pop you there. I'm going to pop you there. What are you, number 3? And you are going to be Ronwell City, except you're not. You're going to be Fort Hampton. Fort Hampton transfer. Okay. And if I go back into this, right the way down the bottom, so you're going to go GSMI, you're then going to go via the transfer, and then here you're going to go via the transfer again. And then under this, I'm going to do this, change speed limit to 75 all the way down, except for once you get to Fort Hampton transfer, that speed limit we're going to clear. And then this, because we're moving around the depot, we're going to do, let's say 25 miles per hour max. That's not what I wanted to do. Change speed limit, 25, 25. Again, we'll keep it realistic. In fact, I think 15 is probably going to be better. Trains do go slow in depots. It's one of the things I hate on train sim is you have to go so slow. But it's for the safety. That's what it's there for. 15. And then here we're going to clear that one again. Oh wait, no. That one needs to stay at 75. That one is the one that needs to be cleared. So what this means is the max speed on the regional line is 75 miles per hour. So the trains are going to go... Is it 75 miles per hour? Yeah. So the trains are going to go 75 miles per hour whilst they're on this track. However, once they reach this waypoint here, they'll accelerate to the full 100, which is the speed limit on this line, give or take. It also means that if they cross over to the main track, which I'm sure they will do, they won't hold up the trains too much in front of them. Then once they get to the factory, they'll slow right down to 15 miles per hour to navigate the factory, and then leaving the factory, they'll do the full speed again. I believe that is everything. I believe that's everything. We will see. In the meantime, I also just want to check this. Yeah, again, we've got trains waiting. Why have we got so many trains waiting? It's that. Okay, so it is getting dealt with, just not quite as fast as we want. It's a little bit frustrating, but I can handle it. I do want to make sure again though that these trains are properly timetabled. I'm doing this a lot, and I probably shouldn't do this as much as I keep doing it, but I keep resetting that just to make sure that it's definitely going at the right, you know, it's all going where it should be going. So again, we have another situation here now, which I could fix temporarily by doing this. In fact, if I do this right the way up as a temporary measure, no? Ah, that's why. That one's going that way. Oh boy. Okay, I haven't really fixed anything here. I send you off. You're okay because you're a metro train. You're supposed to go in the depot. Why are you not going in that depot? Oh, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to loop round and go back up again. Alright, let's get rid of these again. So you should now go into that depot. Yes, which means this train is now coming up. Which it is. Good. Which one was it? It was the one I wanted it to be, which is fantastic news. I can get rid of that. Okay. Right then, guys, so this is a bit messy. And again, I apologise for that. There's another train in here I know that's waiting to come across to this platform. It will sort itself out one way or another, I'm sure. Yeah, it will sort itself out. In the meantime, I'm going to watch this train, make sure that it does set up properly. And yeah, that just about does it for today. So today's Tuesday, isn't it? So tomorrow is Wednesday. We're going to carry on with that main line, which then means we'll extend this service. So it will take a little bit of time because we have to extend 3 sets of tracks instead of 3 sets of destinations instead of just one. As I say, it's going to be a bit of a pain, but we can do it. It's no problem. You're going to go in there in reverse. Okay. Alright then, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to click the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to my channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series. Drop some comments down below for ideas for future episodes, and until next time, I will see you soon.